This video is going to walk you through the different tools you can utilize in an app called Jamboard. This is actually an app made by Google, and it translates very, very well to an iPad. And so this is going to be a longer video because I really do want to walk you through all of the different options you can use in Jamboard. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the Jamboard app, and this is my home page. And what I'm going to do is down the bottom right hand corner, I'm going to tap the plus button and I'm going to do a new jam. So what is a Jamboard? Essentially it's a whiteboard, but it has some pretty cool and unique features. So I'm literally going to walk down this left hand side of these different tools here. I'm going to show you how to add multiple boards to one jam, and we'll go through just exactly what it can do. So starting from the top with the pen. So you really have about 4 different types of pens and how you can mark up your page. So the very first one is right here. It's just a fine tip pen. The one below that is more of a marker, I guess we would call it. The third one down is actually a highlighter. And then the fourth one down is actually a paintbrush where you would actually fill things in. So there's just a quick comparison of what all the different types of pens, highlighters, markers look like inside of a Jamboard. And obviously, I'm gonna jump down to, you can change color. So there are your color choices when you're utilizing any of those pens. What's nice is when you do pick a color, you definitely know you're on that color because everything changes that color. So I'm gonna go back, select black. I'm going to go one more down. So when you see the letter A's, this is actually a handwriting recognition. I like this a lot because now when I write, it's going to transform that immediately into text, just like you'd see on a computer. And I find that it is pretty accurate when you do these things. The one below that is a shape recognition tool. So just like the handwriting, it's going to help me draw shapes and kind of even them out, okay? The next one down is called Auto Draw. This one's pretty fun. So I'm from my social studies background. Let's say I come here and we're talking about knights and castles. I might do this. Let's see. I'm gonna draw here. That's a pretty, you can tell that's my castle. Well, actually down here at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and click that one. Now it looks a little nicer. So it tries to guess what you're going to draw. Here, I'll try another one. You guys are really getting a treat here, seeing my amazing drawings. There, oh, yep, fish. I think this one looks a little better than the one I drew. So auto draw basically guesses what you're trying to draw, and then it allows you to draw those things. So that's all the different pen tools and how you can utilize those. Next one down is the eraser. If you just click once on the eraser, it will allow you to use your pen, finger, crayon to just erase whatever it is you're wanting to erase. If I click twice on it, I can clear the frame, and then that actually wipes the entire board for me. So then I can begin again drawing. Coming down from that, we've already talked about, this is the color tool. So here I'm going to go ahead and clear my frame, and I'll select a new color, and I'll select this pen. So let's say here, and this will help me with my next demo, let's do 2 + 2 = 4 there. So I've changed the color. This next tool down is my selector tool. One of the cool things about this is no matter what I have on my screen, I can go ahead and select it. Now I can move it wherever I need to go. So maybe now I want to come back and do 3 + 1. So maybe I'm just trying to show kids all the different ways you can get to 4. So again, I select, and I can just take it down. So that's with my selector tool. So here I select. You guys have noticed whenever I'm dragging things, this little trash can appears at the bottom. All I do is drag something down here and release, and it gets rid of it on the page. Down from the selector tool, I kind of call this the magic pen. I think it's kind of intended to be almost like a laser pointer, because what I can do here is anything I draw will then go away. So I can bring attention to this very quickly, but then that line goes away. So this might be something to utilize if you have other things on the screen, which we'll get to in a moment. The next one down, the T in the box, this is actually creating a Post-it note. So I can create additional Post-it notes by hitting return, or I can just leave this one. Anytime I have this button right here, if I'm clicked on an item, sorry, I'm going to undo that. If I'm using my selection tool and I'm clicked on something, wherever you see the box in front of another box, that will duplicate whatever it is you're on. So you can use that to quickly duplicate. Okay, that's the initial screen of that left-hand tools, but there's actually more. What I'm going to do right now, though, is I'm actually going to draw your attention right up there to this little arrow, which creates a second board on my jam. So now I can just move on, and I can go back. I still have everything on my first, but I can just actually extend it to now I have a second whiteboard in this jam. I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to click this plus button. This gives me additional features. So I can bring things in from my Google Drive. I can bring things in from the web. I can bring images in. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to load. It takes just a minute to load a presentation onto the Jamboard. So I'm going to do that now while I talk about some others. I'm going to click on my drive, and actually I'm working on this creating with Chrome. I'm going to click it once, and I'll just move that over to the corner. And then I would like to show this, the Earth. This is actually doing a web search. So this will actually come in and bring, like, I have a Google search here. I just searched for Lincoln. So I could actually I can clip things from the web. I can do a web search right in my Jamboard. I can come one down to this is actually an image search. So the icon with the picture, I'm going to search for the same thing, Lincoln. Great. Here's some pictures of Abraham Lincoln. If a single click will allow that to come into my jam, and I can go and take my select tool, and now I can move that wherever I might want to move it to. While I'm with my select tool, I'm going to come back to my Google Drive, my creating with Chrome presentation. I'm going to do a quick double click on it. This opens this presentation, and what I can do is I can actually take a slide and I can drag it over. Maybe I want to drag this slide over, scroll down, and I want this slide. Any of these slides, with a simple tap and a pinch to zoom, I can bring forward, and I can come up here. I can grab this pen, and I can mark on it. So anything I might want to do with this slide, if I come back to my selection tool, I pinch this down, I can actually select these right here. I'm ready to get rid of those. Maybe I want to come back to this slide. Now let's take a look at this slide. I can fill it up, and I can come back to my pen. I can circle what I need to circle, go through those things. So it's kind of nice to be able to add those features in from Drive and from the web. Below those, you do have some emojis you can put in there. I do also like, though, the camera function down here. Since this is on an iPad and you have a camera, I can very quickly click on the camera, access my photo library, or I can just turn on the camera and take a picture right there. So perhaps a student's doing something in school that you want to show everyone else on the Jamboard. You could take a picture of their work, put it right on the board, and then you have all your writing tools built in. As a teacher, what you can do with a Jamboard that's pretty cool in terms of when your kids have Chromebooks in front of them is you can actually click on the three dots up in the top right-hand corner, right there. And when you click on those, you can share this jam via a code. So right here, share via jam code, and then it becomes just like students logging into something like a Flipgrid or a Kahoot, or you can also utilize Google Classroom and post your jam in Google Classroom. What happens is then your students have view access. You can set it up for view access only on the jam. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flip over to what a Chromebook would look like when students are on a jam with you. So I have switched over now device wise, and I am now looking at a student account on a Chromebook for what Jamboard will look like. And what I've done is I've added a blank page to our Jam. If you can see here, I'm gonna click the previous frame. This is the Jamboard that we were working on while I was demoing the product. I've added a blank page. You can see, since I'm a student right now, I have view only access. There's a couple ways you can give students access. You can use a Jam code, which is something like getting on Kahoot, or you can actually just put the Jamboard in Google Classroom. What's nice is the fact that the students do have view only access. I'm clicking right now, there's nothing I can do on the screen. However, what I'm going to do is act as the teacher. Now, I realize you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I have my iPad right next to me as the teacher, and I'm on this same Jam. So what I'll do is I'm going to go over to my iPad, and I'm going to do that image search again. And this time I'm actually going to search for a castle. I found a good image of a castle. And you should see on the student device, I'm going to use my selection tool to grab this, make it a little bigger. I'm going to then switch to my pen tool, and I'm going to maybe start, maybe I want to point out some of the highlights on this. Those are the turrets here. You could see where they would have entered the castle right here. And you can see that what I'm doing on my iPad is translating onto the student's screen. So it's kind of nice for the students have this right in front of them. All the students can do is switch between boards. They can't interact any other way with this. They can't draw on it. They can't move the picture. Now, can you give them a jam in which you share it with them and they have edit rights? Sure, you can. But for this, I think it's really nice because whatever you're doing on screen, they're seeing translated right on their Chromebook.